Hello and welcome back to the Commerce Collective podcast brought to you from Flywheel live from unBoxed 2024. I am your host, Emma Irwin, and in this next episode, we are covering a bit of an unboxed overview. We'll talk about sponsored ads for the whole funnel, we'll cover recent changes to eligibility and how brands further evaluate their full funnel approach, and just the excitement that surrounds our industry. Let's get into it.
Gabe Fishbein, VP of Product at Flywheel. Been here for, as someone said earlier today, my entire life, and I tend to agree with that sentiment.
Heck yeah. Easy one, but because we were at Amazon Unboxed, what is the last thing that you purchased off of Amazon?
Yes, so I came prepared this time, and I just got a new iPhone, and so a lot of USB-C things, because iPhone's now USB-C, and so all of my wired headphones, which I used the lightning adapter, I gotta get USB-C, as well as all my chargers. I now have to turn them over to USB-C chargers, which is like net a good thing, but just requires the investment. And so because it was Prime Best Deals Day, lots of things were on sale, and so I was able to get all that I needed in a fairly reasonable amount of cost.
They moved it to the USB-C? No.
It's net benefit, I promise.
I haven't asked anyone to do kind of like an overview. Now we are at the end of Unboxed, like just an overview on what you saw, what was cool to you, what's the energy like this year? Compare it to years past.
Really great energy this year, especially because, and I don't mean this to be offensive, but because we're not near any big Amazon ads hubs, it's really concentrated a lot of the discussion, a lot of the folks all in one place. Nobody is leaving to have conversations. And so it's led to just like a really highly concentrated number of folks on the agency side, the integrator side, the brand side, and of course on Amazon side. And so overall, it's been really thrilling to have a lot of amazing conversations, to see a lot of amazing sessions, keynotes, all the celebrities they like to bring out. It's just been a wonderful time, and it's really great to see this event continue to mature, and it's been cool.
It's only my second one, but it is even just from one year to the next and going like New York to Austin and seeing how the content evolves over time has been pretty cool, even though it's just those 1 year apart. Very good. Okay. You got to be a part of a session covering mapping the full funnel journey with sponsored ads. Can you give me some of the highlights from that session and like what was covered on your end? Because I know you came out for like a panel section after a presentation.
Yeah. So it was with two product managers from Amazon, Arif and Ashima. They helped build the integration for AMC Audience Bid Boost within sponsored products and sponsored brands. That was one of the big announcements that they made. And so, for the first time, you now have the ability to use AMC all the way up and all the way down the funnel. And so 5 years ago, when Amazon Marketing Cloud launched, I used to say that anytime I talk about Amazon Marketing Cloud, that I was on the Gee Whiz tour, specifically because it was just reporting. You weren't actually really able to take any actions using that data. About 2 years ago, Amazon launched custom audiences for DSP, which then allowed you to use all of the rich data from the signal that Amazon collects in order to create targeting for DSP. So if somebody's abandoned a shopping cart or searched a certain way on Amazon.com, you were able to now create all these really cool audiences to be able to reach the customers who are going to be more qualified and more likely to make a purchase. Now, what Amazon has done is they have extended the capabilities all the way down to sponsored brands and products. And I say down as in down the funnel, so much closer to where that purchase is occurring. So what does that mean? It means that now, just like you can do a top of search sort of bid boost where you can say, hey, I want to spend 100% or 900% more for a click if somebody, my ad is serving top of search, you can now do that with AMC audiences. And so you can say, hey, if somebody falls into this AMC audience, I now want to increase my bid, to boost my bid to reach them. And so typically you can create these AMC audiences via either the rule-based functionality or the lookalikes functionality to find these really high propensity to buy customers or customers who you want to follow a really specific journey. If they've seen a certain ad on STV or been exposed to a specific ad via static display, the ability now to say, hey, I want to show them that same assortment as they move down that funnel, as they arrive on the retail website to convert.
As you just mentioned, like AMC audiences and moving down the funnel, what comes next? Like there's not really something farther down the funnel than sponsored products. And then I'm like, okay, do we go back up the funnel in terms of what kind of innovations come next out of AMC? Like, what are you thinking about?
AMC has a really robust roadmap. It's an incredibly talented team of product managers and product leaders at Amazon who are really focused on innovating. So there will be changes around potentially we could see sponsored display as part of that at some point. We could potentially see audiences versus bid boosting as part of that. This is all sort of things that may or may not happen But really, what's going to happen is the ability to do more with AMC. So as data sources are getting added and capabilities are getting added, while yes, there are no more ad units, what you actually have now is the ability to do more with those ad units. And so that can be new data sources that Amazon furnishes. I know that there are probably some coming very soon that will allow you to say, hey, I want to see more of this customer journey. It could be those retail data sources, or it could be even third-party signals. So signals from partners that are connected via the AWS clean rooms, or it can even be 1P data, bringing your own data. Every single new data source that's added is sort of this like factorial increase in the number of things you can do with it because of the joins you can make. So it's like if you add a fourth, you get 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 possibilities, and so on and so forth. You sort of increase it, the 10th, 11th, 12th data source. You can really begin to stitch together a really cool constellation of understanding of customers to then go reach them and boost that bid to optimize towards the behavior that you want customers to exhibit.
The way you're just talking about like all these different like touch points and mapping it out, Dante, who I just recorded with, was talking about, we were kind of riffing off of like how many times full funnel has been said at this conference. And he was like, but really, actually, it's kind of like the funnel's collapsing. And do you agree with that? I'm just curious.
I think, yeah, funnel's a bit of an old school marketing term. It's a term that I learned in college, which is to say it's probably older than it should be. And so we like closed loop because you can sort of see all of the different pieces and they can all feed back into things like loyalty and subscription, where you're sort of like, well, they're already now below the bottom of the funnel. What would that be referred to? I like constellation as well, sort of pulling out all these touch points that may be nonlinear, they may be repetitive, and they may result in multiple actions. Funnel is just sort of a old school marketing way to visualize it, but I love constellation. I love closed loop, and it sort of gives you the ability to highlight how custom it is to each individual customer.
Talking about all of this and kind of listening to all the different content here, and as we go more on this like full funnel and just ad types across the entire funnel, I've been thinking about connecting this to like recent changes in advertising eligibility that we have seen on the sponsored product level from Amazon. Can you kind of tell me, I think this was an observation made like with the buzz with brands around this CRC, what is like your hot take here and how this all kind of ties together with how advertisers need to be looking at all of those different ad types across the constellation?
Across the constellation. So the eligibility one is interesting, and it's certainly not new. We know that the Amazon sort of retail and ads teams regularly will change sort of the threshold of profitability to Amazon that a item can be, an ASIN can be, and be eligible to have an ad serve. And so Amazon has always sort of changed this, and it's a really important lever because just like a grocery store will sell a rotisserie chicken for $5 at a loss, there are some items that Amazon also will sell at a loss. And so those are typically consumables, or typically bulky, or they're typically heavy. And so Amazon will sort of regularly adjust, what is able to be promoted and the profitability thresholds when you factor in ads in order to actually move those items out the door. So that's sort of the general overview of kind of the mental model or the frame of mind in how we think about this stuff. As far as, so I don't have a ton of hot takes when it comes to like, hey, what can you do? What can't you do? Every situation is individual. But I think the important key is that this is really true on sponsored products, but it's less true as you move up the funnel. And so as you think about sort of a full funnel or an upper funnel tactic, when it comes to advertising, you don't really have as much of those eligibility considerations. And so you can still continue to promote these items through sponsored brands most of the time, sponsored display and ADSP, both static and STV. And so as you think about sort of a full funnel journey, a way that you would want to advertise your product across all the different steps in which customers learn about your products, sponsored products is just one part of that. And so eligibility is a consideration there, but it's worth noting that the whole breadth of ad products is still completely advertisers' disposal.
If you were, let's say there's a brand that's like going for a set group of products, like sponsored products was where the majority of their investment was going. And then let's say eligibility impacts that. And so, yes, they have those options to move up the funnel with what they're investing in, but like, how would you guide them in how much to invest and where? Like, does it depend on their goals of what they're trying to accomplish? How would you kind of walk them through that?
It definitely depends on their goals. And so one of the things, I think most brands are sort of trying to drive top line, bottom line, or market share. And so as you think about sort of understanding, sort of modeling out what is going to actually move more units is a really important way to think about it. And so We built a model that's currently in beta that allows us to say, hey, across each different ad unit, what are the sales that you can expect based on level investments and how you can reallocate? And so I think it's worth, even independent of eligibility, sort of like you can move dollars around to eligible SKUs within a specific ad unit for sponsored products, let's say, but it's worth looking at eligibility and your agreements with Amazon, but also just across the whole funnel, how you're allocating, and sort of doing a broad-based regression to say, hey, like, am I actually allocating across all of these ad units effectively or efficiently? And is there room to reallocate even outside just moving dollars around my assortment within one ad unit?
Got it. I'm curious because, I mean, I've gotten to listen to you talk now for 4 years. What excites you the most about the ad tech industry and just advertising in general? This world that we live in.
I mean, it's all like change is exciting. And so like you can look at sort of what's happening in out of home or in print. And the change there sort of outside of like retail isn't often as fast as the change that we see in digital and specifically in e-retail. And so it's exciting to experience change. It's exciting to see events like this come into existence and then evolve into these really cool, like celebrity studded keynotes. That's something that is new to me as well, having worked with this since the sponsored products API launched back in 2016. So it's really evolved from like all these like hacky product managers trying to like ship something that will sell more units into like, whoa, we have events where they like provide you alcoholic beverages like at the end of each day. And so it's really cool to be a part of all that change and to watch sort of the competition and the acceleration of that change as opposed to sort of like complacency and stagnation is just really fun. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Heck yeah. I love that. Last thing I will ask you is just like favorite part of unBoxed so far, but you don't actually have to tie it back to the event. If it might, you could say the tacos from the alley and that would work. But favorite part of unBoxed in Austin, I'll put it like that.
I did love Alley Tacos. That's always great. It's the only place where people come together to talk specifically about ads. And I think that if you go to the other industry events, there are a lot more, there's just like a much wider breadth. You have sort of less concentration, any one topic. But because everybody here is specifically obsessed with what's new in ads, how to make the ads work better, what is everybody else building, it's really fun because it's a personal passion of mine. Admittedly, I'm weaker in some other subject areas, but I've grown up in digital ads, in e-commerce ads, and so the maturity and the growth is a rare combination. And so all the events are great, all the partners are great, all the folks from Amazon are great. It's just like a really exciting sort of marathon of a week where you can hear how people are thinking through problems, what they're trying to solve next, and how we can sort of collaborate on thinking through the solutions.
Okay, I think that is everything I've got for you, and we can wrap it up.
Awesome. Thank you, Emma.
And that wraps up another episode of the Commerce Collective podcast. I've been your host, Emma Irwin. Thank you to Gabe for finding the time to record in this absolute whirlwind of an event. And as always, make sure you listen to all of our unboxed content and what's to come next. We'll see you next time.